This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
China has a singular opportunity to stabilize its economy.
I feel great about it.
The escalation of violence by these rioters poses a serious threat.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
The art of the China deal. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. President Trump says the U.S. has reached a deal in principle with China on trade, tariffs, and more.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told lawmakers on Capitol Hill he believes the two countries are moving to a more balanced trade relationship.
China has a singular opportunity to stabilize its economy by shifting away from excess production towards greater consumption.
Bessent says Beijing should not be allowed to export its way to prosperity.
Fox's Jared Halpern. That comes along with some generally positive U.S. economic news today. Inflation rose 0.1% last month. That's much less than many experts expected. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez de Reamer tells Fox News it portends well for our overall economic health.
I feel great about it. We're going to continue to double down. Investment in the American workforce is key from the Department of Labor's perspective. We want to grow these jobs and grow this economy. And with the trillions of dollars being reinvested into the United States of America, we're ready to go.
The annual rate of inflation now pegged at 2.4%. Anti-icing goes nationwide. Several cities seeing protests today against federal immigration authorities' crackdown on people here illegally. In New York City, there's a now viral confrontation making the rounds between two white protesters who were blocking a black woman from getting to her job.
How is this a peaceful protest? How do you white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work.
Back in Los Angeles, where things started last Friday, two arrests of protesters there who threw Molotov cocktails at police.
The escalation of violence by these rioters poses a serious threat to our agents and the safety of the public. We expect more charges to be filed in the coming days and weeks. If you took part in these riots and were looking to cause trouble, we will come looking for you.
U.S. Attorney Bill S.A. Lee, who says one of the suspects is an illegal immigrant who had previously been deported and already had prior charges in California for grand theft and DUI. An overnight curfew kept violence down in L.A. last night.
There were over 100 arrests, but they weren't for looting, they weren't for vandalism. So what I'm hoping is that people got the message that we're serious, and we won't even have those arrests tonight.
L.A. Mayor Karen Bass. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the sometimes violent L.A. protests are an attack on American culture.
These criminals injured police, threw rocks at police cars and officers, burned vehicles, shut down freeways, and lobbed Molotov cocktails. These attacks were aimed not just at law enforcement, but at American culture and society itself.
Protest groups are planning hundreds of nationwide protests on Saturday, dubbed No King's Day, coinciding with Flag Day, President Trump's 79th birthday, and a Washington, D.C. parade honoring the U.S. Army's 250th birthday. Nearly 30 states are suing the genealogy company 23andMe. The genetic testing service filed for bankruptcy earlier this year. The new lawsuit seeks to stop the company from auctioning off the DNA info of around 15 million customers. Now, here's a sobering one. How close are we to a nuclear holocaust? To hear Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard tell it in a chilling new 3-minute video, precariously close.
Political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to.
Gabbard recently visited Hiroshima, Japan, scene of the 1945 U.S. A-bomb strike. Her comments come with the U.S. expected to resume nuclear talks with Iran this weekend, though President Trump says confidence is not high.
I'm less confident now than I would have been a couple of months ago. Something happened to them, but I am much less confident of a deal being made.
Fox's Rich Edson says Iran is expected to reject the latest U.S. offer this weekend. And there's word this afternoon that the U.S. military has authorized the voluntary departure of troops dependents across the Middle East as tensions continue to rise there.
Wouldn't it be nice if we
He founded the group that became the unofficial summer soundtrack for millions of Americans. Beach Boys founder Brian Wilson, dead at the age of 82. The family making that announcement on his website. No cause of death disclosed, but over a year ago it was disclosed that he was beginning to suffer the effects of dementia. He also battled mental health and drug addiction issues for years. He's considered one of the most innovative songwriters of the 20th century, though in high school he earned an F for a composition he submitted in music class. Later that grade was changed to an A when administrators discovered that that composition had become the Beach Boys' first big hit, Surfing. And it's an annual tradition in Washington, the Congressional Baseball Game, where sportsmanship transcends partisan politics. Well, at least sort of.
For House Speaker Mike Johnson, with a slim GOP majority, the saying it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt applies more than ever.
Well, we told them all to be careful. We have a small margin in the House, a 3-vote margin. I don't want anybody in the hospital. We don't need that. So take it easy. Have a good time.
The game pits Republicans against Democrats to raise money for charities that serve vulnerable families and provide youth scholarships.
Ryan Schmelz, 30,000 tickets have been sold for that ball game. Florida Marlins must be pretty jealous. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, pro-life reaction to New York's move toward legalized physician-assisted suicide, a real shocker for Pennsylvania police, and biblical advice on helping to ease a friend's pain.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Our call for tonight, mostly a pleasant night. Will be moonlit with patchy clouds. An isolated shower cannot be ruled out across parts of western and central New York. Low temperatures, 50s and low 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny with high temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. Friday, variable cloudiness, a couple of showers and thunderstorms arriving from the west with high temperatures in the upper 60s to the upper 70s.
Thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Pro-lifers blasting New York lawmakers for approving physician-assisted suicide. The state Senate this week giving its blessing to the controversial legislation. Dennis Paust with the New York State Catholic Conference.
It creates an environment where life is disposable. I can give you 35 reasons to oppose this bill. None of them mention God or church or faith. They're all about responsible legislation and what public policy does and what message it sends to the rest of the community.
Republican State Senator Jake Ashby.
The only state in the country that has no waiting period involved in obtaining, if you want to call it, the medication. What's the justification for that? You don't need to see your physician in person before you acquire this.
Governor Hochul still weighing whether she will sign off on the assisted suicide bill. Another day of cleanup in New York and Pennsylvania communities hit by severe storms earlier this week. In Wattsburg, PA, an EF2 tornado killed livestock and damaged buildings on the Seabury family farm. Nolan Seabury tells Jet TV the community of Wattsburg has been wonderful, though. Hundreds of volunteers pitching in with emergency equipment at the farm to help clean up.
In such a dark time, it was really comforting and brought a lot of joy to know that, my community really does have my back. We always try to be our best people, and it just makes us feel really good that everybody was here to support us.
And in Hammondsport, New York, flooding was the big issue. Tim Marshall's director of emergency services for Steuben County.
We're just basically working with our highway departments, our emergency first responders to try to make sure that the roads are cleared from the debris and open for traffic.
And staying in Steuben County, word this afternoon that 3 state DOT workers were injured late this morning after being struck by a vehicle in an active work zone on Route 36 in Hornellsville. State police say a 30-year-old worker was airlifted to Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, while the other 2, ages 52 and 60, were taken by ambulance to St. James Hospital in Hornell. All 3 are expected to survive. The southbound driver hit them while they were outside of their vehicle, then slammed into a stationed DOT truck. A large drug bust in PA led to quite an unexpected discovery. Here's Family Life's Brian Query.
2 individuals have been arrested in Clearfield County following a significant drug bust that also led to the rescue of 2 unlawfully possessed African wildcats. Jennifer Dixon and Nicholas Rumsey face charges including possession with intent to distribute and endangering the welfare of a child. Over $85,000 in drugs and paraphernalia were discovered in the home. The Pennsylvania State Game Commission is investigating the unlawful possession of the wildcats as the owners did not have the proper permits. Brian Query, Family Life News.
All right, thank you, Brian. Up next, highlights from today's Inside Out feature with Martha Manikas Foster, who spoke with author Vanitha Rendell Reisner, who writes about the best way to help when a friend is hurting. And that, of course, centers on Christ.
Vanitha, you know physical pain yourself and emotional pain too. And your first encouragement is that we pray. What specifically would you recommend that we pray for?
I would say that we should pray for their needs, like their spiritual needs, their emotional needs, their physical needs, that they would turn to the Lord and find peace. That's the biggest thing, is just that they would find God in their suffering, and then their daily strength, physical healing, that they would not be anxious, that they would be surrounded by caring friends. There's so many things we can pray for.
So you also recommend that we show up for hurting friends. And I don't know any compassionate person who would disagree with the value of that, but it can feel intimidating. We don't want to say, or we don't want to do the wrong thing. So what's the answer to that?
The answer is you don't need to say anything. Just show up at their doorsteps, go to the hospital, sit in the waiting room, ask them if they want company to go somewhere. Just be there. I joke that I like salty snacks and dark chocolate, but you don't need to even bring that. Jesus, we see him in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he just wanted his disciples with him. So presence is such a powerful thing. Just be there. And listen. Those are the important things. I have this acronym that I called SLOW, and the first one is show up, and the second one is listen. Let people process, because in different stages of grief, we just want to talk about how we feel without being judged. And I think sometimes we hear our friends talk about, I'm so angry or I'm so frustrated, and we want to correct their theology or help them along. And really, most people just want somebody to listen. So I would say that's the second most important thing after you show up, is just listen.
You're listening to Inside Out on Family Life. I'm talking today with Vinitha Rendell-Reisner, author of the Desiring God article, SLOW, S-L-O-W, How to Love Suffering People. Vinitha, when we say to a hurting friend, just let me know what you need, I've learned that we're actually burdening them. We're actually giving them the responsibility of assigning us a task. But what's a better way to offer help? And could you give us some practical examples?
It's funny because people think it's super helpful to say, call me if you need anything, but that doesn't give somebody any idea of when to call. So they never call. It's most helpful if we offer something specific. So maybe, hey, I'm going to drop off a meal of spaghetti and a salad on Wednesday. Does that work? And, can I walk your dog on Wednesday? If we give them the dates and the blocks of time, then they can tell us if that helps or isn't helpful. Some people are private and they don't want you to come to their home or go to the hospital. So I would ask, but I would offer that right away and just show up. And be honest with people. Listen more than you speak. Unless somebody says, I really want to hear, can you tell me? Offer your own experiences rather than sort of preaching at people. Most people in pain don't want to be preached at, but they do want somebody to walk beside them and encourage them. And I would also say it's never too late. If something really hard happened to a friend, and it's been months even, you can still reach out. Don't think, I wasn't there in the middle of the crisis. I can't be there now. It's never too late to reach out.
That's author Vinitha Rendell-Reisner speaking with our Martha Manikas Foster on this week's edition of Inside Out. You can listen to all of Family Life's original features through Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
The easy way out often leads to trouble down the road. Hi, I'm Rob West with the Faith and Finance Minute. One such case is debt consolidation. It seems wise combining several debts into one with a single smaller monthly payment, but it can also double your debt problem. To make that one payment smaller, you may have to sign up for a longer-term loan, paying more in interest in the long run. Plus, it only cures the symptom. It doesn't address the underlying problem, which is having a lifestyle beyond what you can afford. The best solution is not debt consolidation, but debt management, like you get with Christian credit counselors. They can put you on track to pay off your debt up to 80% faster than going it alone. Check it out at ChristianCreditCounselors.org, and don't take the easy way out. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a salute to a summertime favorite.
This corn is raw.
I know, isn't it wonderful? It's so crisp.
Of course it's crisp. It's raw.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. A pretty quiet weather pattern continues. A weak disturbance heading our way from Michigan may spark a brief shower tonight. Overall, it's a quiet pattern that'll carry us through most of the rest of the work week. But by the end of the work week and into the weekend, more potent front spells, showers, and cooler air are called for tonight. Mostly a pleasant night. Will be moonlit with patchy clouds. An isolated shower cannot be ruled out across parts of western and central New York. Low temperatures 50s and low 60s. Tomorrow, partly sunny with high temperatures in the 70s and low 80s. Friday, variable cloudiness, a couple of showers and thunderstorms arriving from the west with high temperatures in the upper 60s to the upper 70s.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin. Finally at 5.
I have certain obligations. I'm still a corncob queen.
Well, shucks, even if you're not the corn cob royalty, odds are you love to sink your teeth into corn on the cob this time of year. So allow us to butter you up with a few corny facts. Mexico first domesticated corn thousands of years ago. The average ear has about 800 kernels, typically arranged in 16 rows. It's always an even number of rows, too. The tassel at the top of the corn, that's the male part. The silk of the ear, the female. And talk about versatility. Technically, corn is a vegetable, a fruit, and a grain. And that's the world we live in for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.